Welcome to Homefront Sit Rep. I hope you're in for a great show today because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find Homefront Sit Rep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out Homefront Sit Rep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting.
Out on the edge of the battle and back, we've carried the weight and we've walked every track. From desert dust to the fire at home, we've learned how to fight, how to stand alone. But no one tells you what comes after the war, when silence is louder than the guns we bore. That's where we speak, that's where we heal. Stories too real for Hollywood reels. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see. We're warriors to battle just differently. This is our check-in, our voice, our step. This is the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. For the fallen, the fighting, and those who came home. For the brothers and sisters who still feel alone. We're holding the line with truth and respect. This is the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. For the fallen, the fighting, and those who came home. For the brothers and sisters who still feel alone. We're holding the line with truth and respect. This is the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. It ain't all medals and waving flags. There's pain in the silence and weight in the bags. But we've got a mic and a mission to share, to tell the damn truth, cause somebody's gotta care. We laugh, we cry, we cuss, we pray. We honor the ones who ain't here today. From basic to battle and back to the block. This is our rhythm, our round table talk. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see. We're warriors to battle just differently. This is our check-in, our voice, our step. This is the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. Still heavy in dreams out of reach, for the lessons the textbooks could never teach. We're sounding off, no filter, no prep. This is the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. So if you're born with boots or love someone who did, if you swallowed your hurt and kept it all hid, pull up a chair, you're not alone. Welcome to the front lines you don't always see, where courage meets scars and raw honesty. This is our anthem, our truth intercept. This is the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. For the ones still standing and those we've lost yet, for every single story we'll never forget. We speak so others won't forget. This is the Homefront Sit Rep podcast. Real talk, real facts, real life. Homefront Sit Rep podcast, where the mission continues.
Welcome, everybody, to a Sunday snowy edition of Homefront Sit Rep. How is everybody doing? Gunny, how are you, sir?
Good, man. It's been a couple busy weeks. You know, we didn't have a show last week due to you being at the Marine Corps League meeting, and then we didn't do anything on Sunday. Doesn't matter. I probably wouldn't have been here anyway because I was in Africa. Spent 4 or 5 days there. Came home to this.
Right?
Yeah, dude. April was like, "Are you going to be home by this weekend?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll be home. By the latest Thursday, Friday." She goes, "We're supposed to get snow." I'm like, "Whatever, a couple inches." She's like, "No, like 12, 13, 16 inches." I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, we're not." Yeah. We ended up with, I think right now we're somewhere around the 10 to 12. I had to snow blow the driveway twice today, shovel the deck a couple times, help my neighbors out. Even though it wasn't a heavy snow, when the snowplow came through, it just blocked in the ends of the driveways.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
They are not well versed in, pushing snow here in Kentucky, not like they are back home. Back home, they push it right to the edge of the road. They left 6 feet of pushed snow at the end of my driveway. I'm like, come on now, people, do better.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I've been fighting the snow all day and all yesterday when it started coming down, and I forget what time it was. I got up and I was like, man, we ain't got that much snow because the ground wasn't even covered yet. Like the roads were covered. There was grass on I could still see grass, And
Yeah.
then I got up this morning and I was like, holy cow, we got a lot more snow last night during the night. And I had a tarp out on the side of the house where the dog run is. So I put a tarp out there and put some stuff on it to keep so the dogs could have a place to go to the bathroom instead of trying to go potty in the snow. And uh, that way they don't eat the yellow snow.
Yeah.
Gunner's
Right.
words of wisdom there. But man, I woke up this morning and I had to go out there and shovel the tarp off just so I can get it lifted up for the dogs. And I did a maiden, I went out earlier this afternoon, and uh, our neighborhood road was terrible. Like I was 4-wheel low and I was spinning all 4 tires. I was like, Jesus, but I got on the main road and it was fine. It's cold as all get out.
It's like
But
2 here, like
yeah,
this
yeah,
many.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so, but I wanna give a big shout out to Rich LaMonica. How are you, sir? Triple Threat Vets, Mr. Ty Cobb, how are you guys? And then anybody else that's out there watching, if you ain't said something in the comments yet, say hi, where you're watching from, how much snow you got, and all that good jazz. I know Tennessee and, all these southern states got hit with some crazy amounts of snow and ice. So definitely you guys gotta be safe out there. Want to give some big shout out here on TikTok. We the People Veteran, unapologetic veterans on there watching as well. So I want to give a big shout out to those guys. I'm super, excited. So my daughter's in college. We took her. So last Sunday we took her back for her next semester. So she's technically a sophomore now because her high school college credits that she had and then her first semester, so she's technically a sophomore, but she's back up at Richmond. She said they didn't get a whole lot of snow in Richmond. It was more ice than
Yeah.
anything. So she's hunkered down. They don't know if they're going to have school tomorrow. My kid, my youngest that lives here, they have no school tomorrow, so they're already canceled school for tomorrow. But my work, since who I work for, said, "Oh, you have to go back into the office." Granted, I'm just going to go into the office and sit there for 8 hours and get paid for it.
Yeah.
I talked to my boss earlier. I was like, "Hey, how about you just let me stay home and I still get paid?" He said, "I can't do that." So now I got to make that 30-minute trek into the office just so I sit there for 30 minutes. But it is what it is.
Yeah,
So
the schools up here have already called. I think they called it like 3:30.
yeah,
I had an eye appointment in the morning. They've already canceled and said they'll reschedule when they get back in the office. NKU has called off already, so I can foresee at least tomorrow. Like I said, they've only come through my neighborhood twice,
yeah,
and I'm sure some of the other county roads, especially South Kenton County, down in the Pioneer area, you
yeah,
know, it, they're going to be struggling for a little bit down there. So at least tomorrow, traditional snow day, which is nice.
yeah.
I've got some friends down in the Nashville area that a ton of ice. One of my friends, she's at her parents' house and the tree almost hit the house, brand new windows, everything,
Mm.
but missed it. And it is, I mean, it's just, half inch, 3/4 inch of ice on everything down there. Um, but yeah, it's just crazy, man. I'm glad we just had snow here and only snow.
Yeah, same here. Rich says they have snice,
Yeah.
so snow and ice. And then Josh, who's also in Tennessee, Unapologetic Veteran Podcast, which is our other podcast underneath the home front sit rep, said it's an ice nightmare in his part of Tennessee where he's at.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely if you're out there, man, I tell you, we went to the grocery store earlier in the week when they started talking about the threat of snow and ice. And I had to go back on Friday afternoon. And I'm telling you, that parking lot was friggin' crazy. I walked in and I was just picking up some random stuff, just some random stuff. And went into the bread aisle. There was nothing there. I mean, everything was gone. There was a few other aisles were gone. And then I went to the liquor store, and you would not think that the liquor store would be cleared out, bro. But it was cleared. There was not a whole lot of brown liquid or clear liquid in the liquor store, and I'm like, "Holy cow." So, yeah, man, it was had to go pick up some stuff up there. Luckily, there was some of the wife's seltzers that she likes drinking, So there were some of those there, and it is what it is. So
Yeah,
you know,
I get the bread, the milk and the eggs back. Even you go back into the early '90s, maybe the 2000s, because a lot of people still had gas
yeah,
ranges or cooktop, like fireplaces and stuff. But now with electric, you don't know if the power's going to go out or anything, and
yeah,
it's just crazy to me that people are still um, rushing to get the milk and the bread and
yeah,
everything. And April went Wednesday, so I left. I left um, Senegal at I think 8:30 in the morning. So what 3:30 in the morning your time here?
yeah,
I think it was 5 hour difference. And I think I landed in JFK somewhere around 2 or 3 o'clock. And April was going to the grocery then, and still pretty sparse. And then yesterday she went to Newport, and it was like traffic jam. I mean, it's
oh
like
yeah,
LA traffic jam in the parking lot. I went to the one here in Erlanger, and there was still a bunch of stuff. There's still a lot of milk, still a lot of bread. Um, but what I was surprised, ramen was almost completely gone. Maybe 1 or 2 cases of ramen left. The Chef Boyardee, like the beefaroni and stuff like
yeah,
that, gone. Um,
gone. Yes,
yeah,
yeah. It's like all there was no ramen in our Kroger, Chef Boyardee, all that stuff in cans was gone.
yeah,
And I'm jealous. I'm jealous of Chris right now. He's ice fishing and he's hammering some crappies, some
man,
grappies. So I'm
yeah.
jealous of him.
I have not
Uh,
been ice fishing in a while. I'm definitely jealous of that.
we definitely this next year, since we've already got an open invite to go up there to go
Yeah, up to
crappie
Minnesota.
fishing. Yeah, we are definitely going to have to do that for sure, because that's something that I've never done is go ice fishing, but I would love to do it. So I'm super excited. And then, the guy that we got coming on the show tonight, Patriot, he didn't serve in the military, but he has a big heart for veterans. His mission is 22-0. That's his mission right now. He is a country music singer that is signed with a record label, JCB, I believe JCB Records. He released an album in 2020, March 7th, 2025, called Country Music. He's also a comedian, and he travels around the country going to American Legions, AMVETS post, DAV post, anywhere, Marine Corps League post and stuff, and does fundraisers, um, country music slash comedy. So we're gonna bring up Country Mike. I'm super excited to have him on. It's been a long time coming. We've talked.
Before we bring him up,
Yep.
Patriots go and do the Super Bowl.
Yeah, my team is still sitting down south somewhere, and them dirty birds. So let's do that. Let's bring up Country Mike. What do you think, Gunny?
Yeah, man.
All right, let's do it.
Gunny, yeah, Patriots, man. I watched the game. It was, because of the snow. I think it helped them out, man.
Oh, for sure. And Bo Nix being out
Yeah.
was a huge factor.
For sure.
Nothing away from Stedham. He's a great quarterback.
Yeah.
But just he hasn't worked with that system at all this year. He didn't even take one snap this year, so it's hard. And then that snow came in and just blinded everybody, so it was a huge help for the Pats. And I'm excited for see what this game does.
So who do you guys think tonight? Seahawks or
I think it's going to be the Seahawks. It's going to be close, like this last game was. I think the score will be a little bit higher, but I think it's going to be the Seahawks. And then, unfortunately, I think the Seahawks will, win the Super Bowl too.
Yeah. Are you a Patriots fan?
I am. Yeah, I grew up in Maine, lived in Maine up until I was 19. And
okay, so I'm a Red Sox fan. I'm a Bruins fan. I'm a Celtics fan. And then you're like Patriots. I'm like, no. For a while, I was Cowboys fan, and then I just couldn't take Jerry Jones anymore after what he did to Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
So my daughter's boyfriend is in the Navy. He's down in Little Creek, and he's like, go with the Bills. And I'm like, well, we'll ride with the Bills for a little bit, see what happens. But the Bills, that game last week was like, it was tough, man. Tough.
Yeah.
So,
well, Country Mike, I want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy day to come hang out with Gunny and I here on Homefront Sit Rep. Do me a favor and introduce yourself to the world of Homefront Sit Rep if you don't mind.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. So I'm Kountry Mike. I'm also, comedian Mike Bova. And so I started out as a comedian, and back in 2012, I actually had a podcast that I started in 2009 called the Funny Business Radio Show. And I would have, famous comedians on there. I had Dave Coulier, who played Uncle Joey on Full House. I had a bunch of comics from Last Comic Standing on NBC. And then had some celebrity, actors too. I had Ed Asner, if you know Ed Asner. He was on my podcast a couple of times doing some autism awareness. And then kind of garnered a following of about 250,000 people worldwide. And so some of my friends are like, you should partner up with a not-for-profit. And so I thought about like maybe the MS Society or the American Heart Association, American Cancer Society. And then somebody mentioned veterans. And when they mentioned veterans, I was like, that's my cause, right? My dad served, my brother served, my 3 brother-in-laws served. One of them was a Marine. And so I started off doing some comedy shows. I hosted a weekend with some guys from New York City, and we did a fundraiser for the CNY Veterans Outreach Center. They help with, they do the peer-to-peer counseling, and they do a great work at the center, food, shelter, clothing. And so did a couple shows from them. And then I actually ended up doing a show the next month with a guy I didn't know, but he was on Last Comic Standing as well. And they're like, oh, you do a podcast? You want to open for, this guy? And I'm like, yeah, I never told him I had done stand-up comedy before, so I was kind of like, I'm either going to like do really well. I'm either going to, I'm going to swim or I'm going to sink. And they go, hey, co-headline with him, do a 45-minute set. I'm like, okay, it's a paid gig and all that. And I didn't sink. I treaded water. Okay. Very, water's up to here. And I'm just like, well, 45 minutes is a long time on stage for your first time. So I don't recommend that. Anybody wants to break into comedy, do an open mic first. Okay. Do 4 or 5 minutes with the stuff. And if you like it, keep going. And so, I've been raising money for veterans organizations ever since, here and there. But now all of my shows are comedy concerts. So I do 30 minutes of stand-up. I do 45 minutes of musical parodies. I ruin songs for people. Like the song Take It Easy by the Eagles is because, the first couple lines, I'm running down the road. Like, are you running in a vehicle or are you like physically running? Trying to loosen my load. It's like, oh, yeah. And what load would that be? So Take It Easy is diarrhea. Okay, because I'm about to shit my pants. Yeah. So, and then I end the show with 2 of my funny songs. I got Silent but Deadly and Skinny Jeans, and then I end the show with a song that I wrote specifically for veterans and troops to honor them called Superheroes. Okay, and to me, like firefighters are brave. They're brave, okay? Police officers, they're brave. But the bravest of the brave are people who put their name on the line, put their life on the line, and serve their country. And I to me, you guys are superheroes. So that's what I do. I do veterans shows for American Legions, VFWs, like you said, AM vets, Marine Corps leagues. I've done them all. I travel across the country. I book shows. They get a large portion of the ticket sales, depending on the venue, the size of the hall. It's 40 to 60% of the ticket sales, which is really good. I think I've raised in the past 14 years, I think I've raised over like $300,000 for various organizations. Not too bad, right? Yeah. And then I've got merchandise because of the superhero song. It's got Veterans Are Superheroes. I'm actually trademarking that right now. I've got shirts, and 20% of all the sales go to they benefit Stop Soldier Suicide. And so, 22 to 0. I've talked to so many veterans, man. The stories of listening to what they go through just breaks my heart every time, And I'm like, I'm not going to sit idly by. I want Trump's ear. I want, the heads of Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, whatever. I want the heads of the American Legion. I want to speak into their ears because they got this great support system going in and they got no support system coming out. And that needs to change, man. They need the support system coming out. You take care of them when they're in, you take care of them when they're out too. So, yeah, I got a big mouth and I'm going to use it.
Yeah,
That's been a huge topic. I mean, just this year alone, in the end of last year, about the lack of treatment after you're out, right? And they train all of us for war, for combat, for whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then when you get out, they really don't train you to come home, right? And a lot of that has changed now. I'm hearing from a lot of guys that are still in and guys that I served with that are just now getting out, that the transition classes are much better now.
Right.
The retirement the seminar is much better now.
That's good.
But still, it's just one of those things is, I think the military is the only job that you can have that you are continually practicing.
Sure.
Right. Because you don't know, especially for infantry guys, you don't know when or if you're going to go to war. So it's always practice. Right. And, you might get that opportunity. You look at, a mechanic, they get their master mechanics and that's it. I mean, they have to do continued education, but they're a master mechanic. They can't go any further. All of us in the military are always practicing for what our true job is.
Sure. Yeah. It's so important, man. Like, getting matriculated back into society, right? So it's like, I don't know what the system is as far as like, there should be like job agencies making sure you guys get connected with jobs and things like that. It just needs to be a tight knit system where it's like, okay, we got jobs for you guys, getting an apartment, getting your bills paid. I remember there was a lady at the Veterans Outreach Center. Well, a couple stories with the Outreach Center. There was a guy there who was a Vietnam vet, and I just happened to go by there one night. I think it was hanging posters for a show or something. And they have a food pantry. Okay, I'm not saying anything about their food pantry, but my thought is can we get businesses to donate to the CMY Veterans Outreach Center on a monthly basis where they have a food pantry that's constantly stocked with food, okay, canned goods or whatever, so there's no empty shelves. So the guy, he's a Vietnam vet, and he's like, can you believe it? They don't even have a bar of soap in here. I'm going to go without a meal tonight. I said, no, you're not going to go without a meal. I said, I'm going to buy you a meal tonight. Having a veteran, be hungry and homeless, man, it just tears me up, dude, So there just needs to be a system in place where it's like, there was a lady, she was from National Grid, our electric company, and she's calling veterans to try to get them to pay their bills. And I'm like, I wish National Grid, they're such a multi-billion-dollar company. It's like, can you just like take the veterans' bills and just excuse the bills? Can you just have an amnesty day where you just like wipe their bills clean? Can you do that instead of getting them, how do we get a payment arrangement, whatever? It's like they have enough stress on them as it is. How about wiping their bills out? Let's do that.
But that's a double-edged sword, though. And I'm going to be the devil's advocate on that, okay? And the reason I say that is we as veterans, right, we didn't sign up to defend our country to come back home and have all of our debts eliminated and get all this free stuff. So to me, that's a double-edged sword, right? Yeah, there are veterans. There are veterans out there that need hand-ups and not handouts, right?
Exactly.
Because I've seen it too many times over the course of 20 years that you try to give a veteran a hand up or a handout, and they abuse the system.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Because that's just their mentality. Now, there's a lot of homeless veterans out there that would rather be homeless than tied down to the system. That's just the way their brain works, right?
Yeah.
Now, there are some veterans out there that have PTSD and moral injury that disassociate, where if they are in a home They feel like they are, um, um, what's the word I'm looking for? They feel like they're claustrophobic, basically.
Okay.
Like it starts pounding on them, and they could be there for a month, 2 months, and then all of a sudden one day they're like, "Oh, I can't do this anymore. I'd rather be on the street. I'd rather be
Yeah.
free."
Okay.
So, but there are a lot of veterans out there that abuse the ride every month. And like Veteran Cranks just said, they abuse the system every month. And unfortunately, that puts other veterans that are out there that are trying and trying
Sure,
and trying.
yeah.
It puts a negative light on all veterans, right?
Yeah. Right.
So that's a double-edged sword. Now, granted, do I believe that there should be any homeless veterans? No, there should never be a homeless veteran out there. Do I believe a veteran should go hungry? No, I don't believe a veteran should go hungry either. But that is a double-edged sword, and
Sure.
there's been so many people for the last 20 plus years, maybe even longer, that have spent billions of dollars on veteran awareness, suicide awareness, right?
Mhm.
Nobody's ever taken action. And that's where people need to realize, hey, we can talk about veteran suicide until we're blue in the face,
Right.
but you actually have to take action. And
Sure.
that's where a lot of people, they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk.
Right.
And there are great organizations out there, many veteran service organizations out there that actually walk the walk and stand beside the veterans out there that have that have tried to commit suicide or have thoughts of committing suicide. There's a lot of great organizations out there that walk with that veteran. But
Right.
the thing is when the veteran service organization gets to that point where they see Gunny or myself or any of these other veterans that are in chat as a number and lose focus of why they're doing why they started what they're doing, that's where we have a problem.
Oh, sure.
Because if they see Gunny or myself as a number, they don't care about me as a veteran and what's helping me. All they care about is, hey, I'm padding their number. That means more funding is going into that organization. And that's where, unfortunately, a lot of veteran service organizations start skimming off the top, and that that
Oh, yeah.
CEO, founder, whoever is getting paid $180,000 a year to run
Sure.
an organization. So
Yeah.
to me, I like the mom and pop grassroots that still care about us as veterans that are walking side by side. That's
No
what we look. That's what we look for. So
Yeah. A true not-for-profit is supposed to operate on 20% and take the 80% and use that, for whatever their purpose is. So I've heard of one organization in particular. I'm not going to mention their name. That number is grossly skewed the other way.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, is that really true? Because if that is, it's like somebody should blow the whistle. I'm not going to do that, but it's ridiculous because
yeah,
our veterans just need so much help. I mean, PTSD is so huge. I've talked to, like, a lot of these guys will let me into their circle, and one of the reasons is, like, yeah, I'm talking to a guy on the phone. He was a combat veteran, and he opened up and shared with me and stuff. And I think a lot of guys just open up to me for whatever reason. And so he's talking about war, and I don't know what you guys have seen, and I can't even imagine what you guys see. But I told him, I said, listen, the only thing I can relate to with you is this. I said, my wife and I, we went through 5 years of infertility where we lost babies to miscarriage, ectopics, and everything. I said, and then she was pregnant with quadruplets, 2 boys, 2 girls. And at 22 weeks, she delivered our babies. I watched my 4 babies be born and pass away. 40 fingers, 40 toes, 2 boys, 2 girls. We thought it was, the promise from God, and just, you're helpless, and you just see this horrific stuff. And it's like, man, I was like in the deepest, darkest valley. Now it's like going on 7 years of, 6 years of infertility. It's like, but to watch that,
Yeah.
Where it's like, um, I didn't know what to do, man. We just got our house because it had 7 bedrooms, and we're just in an empty house. And I remember looking outside, and I didn't care about going to work. I didn't care if we lost the house. I didn't care about much. And I'm a Christian guy. I got a Christian faith, and I remember just saying, God, just help me, man. I'm in a bad place. And there's so many escapes from reality. There's like you can go to drinking or drugs or whatever that is. But I was just like, I just had to just pray basically. And
Yeah.
we do have 2 miracle babies. They're 20 and going to be 18
Mm.
next month and stuff. So we got beauty for ashes and all that good stuff. But it's like, and so many guys have told me they have stories about just encounters with God and things like that. But to hear these guys say they've had a gun to their head or a gun in their mouth, it's just like, oh, just to hear that, it's just like, so. And then these guys in Delaware were like, Mike, tell your story, man, about what you went through and stuff. And I see these guys just teary eyed and stuff, and just like, I can't relate, guys, on that level, but I can tell you, man, I've been in that low, dark valley where it's like you don't know how you're gonna get out. Literally, how you're gonna get out. You don't even see a way out. And it's just like, I remember holding up I took a piece of copy paper and I wrote the word help on it in marker, and I just like held it up to God, like, just help me, man, help me. I'm in a bad place. So, I these guys need help, man, and I'll do everything I can in my power to help them. So, I thought about something like, I've got Irish Siri on my cell phone, right, on my iPhone. So half the time half the time she's drunk, right? She's at the pub, whatever. Because I'll say to her like 10 times, hey Siri, and then she won't answer me, right? And then finally she'll come out and go, what can I help you with? I'm like, sober up, check into rehab or something. And I said, how many? I asked her, I said, how many veterans are there in America? You guys are probably going to tell me there's more, like people do. But according to her, there's 18 million. Okay, 18 million veterans in America. I sell my album for $15. I've had a lot of album sales, but if I can get 3% of veterans to buy my album, it's 540,000 copies. Okay, which makes my album a gold album. It's like, how did he do that without a major producer, major record label, whatever? And it means $1,620,000 to stop soldier suicide. And then it gives me millions to donate, some to the Gary Sinise Foundation, some to the PTSD Foundation of America and Camp Hope. They're doing a great work in Houston, Texas. And then it gives me a national platform to do some big concerts and to raise even more money to help more veterans. I want to make sure that veterans, if they need help with their PTSD, we help them. We plug them into either the Stop Soldier Suicide or Gary Sinise or the PTSD Foundation, whatever that is, that I have the money to plug them into those things.
Yeah. So there is a record label down in Nashville called was it 22? Hold on, I have to think about it. But it's all veterans, right? It's all veterans, and they go around the country and they do concerts and stuff for veterans. I think getting you connected with the founder, which is Brian Romans, and Mike Cochran, maybe, I think is their co-founders. I'll have to look it up and tell you at the end of the show. But but I love what you're doing, and there's a lot of veteran comedians out there that travel around and do the same thing you do, like Brandon John or Label 22. Thank you, Mr. Adam Bird. It's called Label 22.
Okay.
But Brandon Johnston, Eric Knowles, Shiloh Harris. There's so many
Bobby Hemline.
Bobby Hemline. There's a buttload of comedians out there, veteran comedians that go to the AMVET Post, the American Legions, the Marine Corps Leagues, and put it on comedy shows. I think what you're doing is phenomenal, and I think right now you got a heart of gold, and you're like, hey, this is my mission. I want to support veterans out there that are in a dark place, because unfortunately when we get out of the military, we're not we talk about it all the time. You know, we're trained to do our job in the military.
Right.
When we join the military, they break us down and then they form us into into the soldier, the Marine, the sailor, the Coast Guard, puddle pirate, whatever. They form us into that image, right? And then when we do our time of service, whether it's 4 years, whether it's 20 years or 14 years, when we get out, we're not trained to go back to civilian life.
Right.
There now, granted, I will tell you, when I got out in 2004, there was nothing. There was nothing. Like, basically, I had 30 days terminal leave, and leading up to that 30 days, I had 2 months to turn in all my gear and everything, make sure everything was good to go, do my final medical and all of that. But when it was time for me to leave on my terminal leave, there was no class. There was no see you later, nothing. It was just like, all right, we'll mail you your DD 214 when your time is up. So I get to travel back home. I don't have that sense of camaraderie with my brothers and sisters anymore. I don't have that sense of purpose that I had when I was in the military. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, because my life for 4 years, 2 months, the first time, revolved around the Marine Corps. Everything that I did was Marine Corps related. When 9/11 happened, I got recalled back in. I was like, all right, now I'm going overseas. I'm going to war.
Right.
When I got back in 2004, once again, what am I going to do with myself? So I had to find, my own tribe, and I've started volunteering at nonprofits locally and stuff like that. And I've seen good ones, I've seen bad ones.
Right.
And that helped me carry on after getting out of service. But now you got guys that are coming out of the military, they're already rated from the VA. They're whatever percentage they are after getting out. There are organizations out there like InVets and KY Valor and Mission Wisconsin and other organizations out there that will help transitioning service members write a resume. They will help them find jobs.
Yeah.
And that's amazing, because I didn't have that. Gunny didn't have that. And a lot of veterans from our era never didn't have that. And to me, that's a major step up for the patriots like yourself, because you're a patriot. That's what we would consider you. You're a patriot. You're not a veteran, but you're a veteran supporter, so we would call you a patriot. That's a major step up for all of us service members that served our country. And that's just it's amazing that here you are, you're not a veteran, but your family members, like you said, your dad and your brothers and your brother-in-laws served in the military, and you're carrying that mantle of, hey, this is what I want to support, this is the mission that I want to support. And I'm going to say thank you for picking that torch up and carrying it, because we need patriots like you that have a mission, and that's what keeps you driving forward on a daily basis.
Yeah, it definitely drives me. Like, people are like, I had somebody that came to my show, and she was going to market me and stuff like that. It's just that I don't have a lot of money for marketing. And she said, I really commend you, your passion for veterans and all that stuff, and your music. And I said, listen, I've thought about quitting many times, but my passion for veterans is greater than my wanting to quit. It's just, it drives me, like I got a story. So I was this close to enlisting in the Army. I took the ASVAB. My brother-in-law was in the Air Force. He was stationed at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and I had gone to see them, and you kind of fell in love with like the whole military life, and so I took the ASVAB test. I grew up like in Watertown, New York, and I grew up about a block from like the worst street in town. So I hung out with all all the derelicts, lovingly speaking, all my friends and stuff that'll probably watch this podcast. And so one of them had this great idea. It's like, let's go talk to the Army recruiter, And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my brother-in-law, like he tells me, he goes, they're going to give you an ASVAB test. Okay. There's one section on the ASVAB test I'm going to tell you to be very careful about. It's a 3-minute math test. Okay. 1 times 8, 9 minus 3, whatever. And when you take it, don't mix up the symbols that you're going so fast or whatever. Just hit each one. You'll have enough time, pass the math, get 100 on it, whatever. So I did it pretty quickly, and I'm looking around and I see my friends. They're kind of like, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to fail this test, So we sit down afterwards with the recruiter. There's like 6 of us. So I'm on the end, and he starts off with one of my friends. He's like, you failed, you failed, you failed, you failed, you failed. Mike, you passed. You qualify for all 300 jobs the Army has to offer. What do you want to do? And I said, well, my first choice was medical specialist, and my second choice was telecommunications specialist. So I get the physical done in Syracuse, New York. I'm working with the recruiter and stuff, and I'm getting ready to be sworn in, okay, and off to basic training. So he goes, there's a delay. Do you want to see your jobs? And I said, yeah. So he pops in like medical specialist. And listen, I don't know if this was raw footage or something. I'm watching this movie. This made Saving Private Ryan look like Boys Town, right? And I'm looking at it, and it shows like 2 guys carrying a guy in a stretcher. They run into the picture. They run out of the picture. And this guy's like the recruiter's like a Hulk Hogan dude, right? I look over, he's got like a tear running down his cheek. He's like, I love this movie, brother. And I said, can I ask you, sir, where am I in this picture? I'm hoping I'm not the guy in the stretcher, okay? He goes, you're one of the guys carrying the guy in the stretcher, brother. And I'm like, can I see my other job, telecommunications specialist? Because, guys, I'm thinking like, the movie War Games and all that stuff, Matthew Broderick. Yeah. I'm like, I'll be doing that. It's the same scenario. It's war. They pan around to a guy behind a tree on this walkie-talkie huge device or whatever. He's screaming, and you don't hear the words, but I look over at the recruiter. He's got like another tear running down his cheek. He's like, I love this movie too, brother. And I said, sir, can I ask you a question? I said, I'm pretty smart. I said, let me take this one. I'm the guy behind the tree, right? He goes like, that's right, brother. I said, yeah, just take me home. Just take me. I mean, they don't show those movies anymore. That scared. I'm like 19 years old, 18 or 19 years old, and I'm like, I mean, my eyes must have been as big as saucers. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do this. So that's why I say like the bravest of the brave. I mean, when you guys like sign up, it's like you are literally putting your life on the line. And I never, my song Superheroes. I'm like, I've never like woken up and had a tune in my head. I mean, I've had songs come to me in my dreams and stuff, but I've never had one where I woke up and like started to write it. Right? Can I play a little bit of Superheroes? So I get this tune in my head, and the tune goes da 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 da. It sounds like nothing, but I woke up and I got this song. So I run downstairs. I don't know about you guys, if you guys are like coffee drinkers. Before coffee in the morning, I'm like a bull in a china shop. Okay, I'm like knocking stuff over. My wife's like, "You're a madman. What are you doing?" I said, "Where's my guitar?" So I sit down for a second. I go, all right, sounds better now, right? So I start to like get this down, and I honestly, it's not an audible voice from God, but it's this voice that I hear in my head saying, this song is for veterans and troops. And I said, if that's the case, then I need the words. And the words started to flow. So can I play a little bit for you guys?
Go for
Absolutely.
it.
Okay, so it goes, they felt it was right, even though they might fight for a country they love, blessed by God above. They joined the Army, the Navy, Air Force, Marines. Then they flew off to basic training. The bravest of the brave, not counting the cost. paid the highest price. Their lives were lost. Live or die, so we can be free. Not superheroes, but superheroes to me. I got a couple more verses, and that song is like precious to me, man. And so I play that. I end my shows with that song, and I've had guys say to me, "That's on the level of God Bless the USA, man." I love that song. So, but I honor you guys, man. I mean, it's like I'm gonna do all I can for every veteran that's struggling, man. I'm gonna, I care. There's people out there who care, who love you, and help is. I don't know, man. I'm gonna, help is coming, man. So.
Well, I like the song. I've listened to the whole song. I've listened to a few of your songs, and like you said, you got some parodies. You got that song. You got your album that just came out. Was it March of last year of 2025? So, do you have other songs in the works? What kind of tour dates you got coming up? And stuff of that kind.
So I'm working on a second album. It's kind of a slow process. I'm trying to do 2 albums simultaneously. So I'm trying to do a parody album, and like I'll give you an example of a parody. So we run into some tenants. We rent to single moms in our upstairs apartment, and we keep the rents low because we want to give them disposable income. So one of them moves with their boyfriend in, and they partied all night, and they're passed out, and so in the morning they're passed out. Their 2-year-old walks down the stairs and starts playing in the street, guys. So a neighbor finds a return to the safety. So Willie Nelson's On the Road Again?
Yeah.
Well, this is In the Road Again. Your kid is playing out in the road again. The life you love is when you party with your friends, and your kid is playing in the road again. In the road again. She's playing while you're passed out in the house again. When you wake up again, she'll be in the custody of CPS, 'cause you're a mess. Sad, isn't it, guys? Well, it is a country song. So I got a parody album I'm working on. I'm working on the second, country-ish kind of Christian kind of a mix. But, my tour dates, I'm actually starting off in Arnold, Missouri. I'm doing a VFW there in Arnold. I'm driving 8 hours. Okay. Typically I drive no more than 5 hours between a show. The next day I'm driving 8 hours to Saline, Michigan, near Ann Arbor, doing an American Legion there. It'll be my 4th time there. Then I've got some 4 shows in New York State, got a show in Connecticut. So if there's anybody out there that's listening, you are you have influence in your post, okay, with the commander and things like that, and you want to book me for a show, you can just email me through the website, which is Country with a K. I have to specify, guys, Country with a K, because one time I said, this lady goes, "What's your website?" I said, Country Mike with a K. She's like, Country Kike? And I'm like, whoa, hang on with the anti-Semitic remark. So now I got to specify Country with a K, countrymike.com. Somebody had just emailed me. It was either yesterday or this morning to be the comedian for the Marine Corps convention in August 11th. But I'm moving my daughter into college down in West Palm Beach, and I can't make that event. I said, please keep me in mind for next year's event. I would love to do some comic relief and stuff. So, hopefully I'll be on the Marine Corps League convention for next year. So
nice.
Yeah.
So I put the website in chat. It's also on the screen right now. It's www.countrymike.com. Country spelled with a K.
With a K.
So countrymike.com. So go check out the website, and you can see he's got merch, digital album, physical album, home, bio, music, news, shows, contact. Also has all of the social medias. You got Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all of that on there. And you can also donate on his website to stop soldier suicide as well. So go check out countrymike.com, and that's country with a K. So go
Yeah. My
check
whole
it out.
album is on there. At first, I had clips on there, but you can hear my songs. Track number 8 is Superheroes. You can hear the studio version with a full band, and it's a great song. I'm trying to really get that song, guys, into the military and veteran communities, because I think they would love that song, and it's so heartfelt, man. It's like, once I heard God say, like, this is for veterans and troops, I'm like, and I started to write, like, the lyrics just started to flow. I'm like, I don't even know where to start. You know what I mean? And you start off with you guys joining, and you guys, like the verse number 2 was like, they worked their jobs, they gave their all, knowing someday they might be called to fight for people on a foreign land, the Middle East, Afghanistan, And then the third verse is, when they got home, there was no parade, although one was fitting given the price that they paid. Often forgotten, but let's not forget these brave men and women are troops and are vets. And then it goes into the chorus. But I've seen grown men in my shows, guys, cry like a baby, because they remember the wartime, and the people, our fallen heroes, man, and their families. They hit me up with, I love that song. It just hits me so hard, and I'm just glad. I mean, it brings up memories or whatever, but to honor them, it just means a lot to me.
No, I love it. I love it, man. It's go ahead and hit the button, Gunny, see if it'll play. It's phenomenal.
I love it, man. I love it.
There you go. It's working.
That's phenomenal.
It's working. Awesome. All right, my friend. Well, I want to say thank you for coming on and hanging out with Gunny. So we have a segment here on the show that's the joke of the day.
Okay.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah, I'm gonna do. I do impressions at my show, and so I do some Rodney Dangerfield. So I'm gonna do one of my jokes as Rodney. Okay.
All right, let's do this first.
It's time for the joke of the day.
All right, so here we go. So, hey, I'll tell you, my car broke down on the way to a show. I needed to be picked up. So I called Enterprise. Hey, I'll tell you, they were so lazy, I had to pick them up.
Oh, man. Awesome. That's phenomenal.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
So I do, controversial, on some aspects, whatever. People like, like when I go to VFWs, American Legions, I went to a VFW and they were like, I wish I knew you did Trump, man, because it's just like, we would have had to go a little bit political, but I don't and all I say is just, and I'll say it to you guys, is just, hey, beautiful people watching the show, beautiful people. And that's all. That's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming, hanging out with us, brother. I appreciate everything that you are doing for our brothers and sisters out there, across the great land of the United States of America, sure, man. It's amazing. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So thank you again for taking time out of your day and hanging out with us. Yeah. We're going to drop you down in the green room. You can hang around, wait till we're done. We can chit chat afterwards, or if you got things to do, you can go ahead and do that as well.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you. Awesome, Gunny. How super cool was that, my friend?
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Yes. And he does a really good Rodney Dangerfield too.
He does. I growing up, watching, was it Back to School and some of his other stuff in his stand-up stuff, he did it pretty good. I bet he could do a good Andrew Dice Clay too.
Oh, I bet he could too.
New England, New York accent going for him. So I guarantee he could do some, forget about it, some Andrew Dice Clay.
Forget about it. Well, Gunny, you know what time it is?
Oh, is it time for me?
Gunny's Words of Wisdom.
Getting out of the military is not the end of the book. It's just closing another chapter.
So true. So true. Clip that.
And there's just so many guys and gals that I run into that it's, they're still living that time that they served instead of living for the now. And, or, they talk about living for, the ones that didn't make it back home. And, you got to live for you, keep their memories alive, keep their names going, say them out loud, tell their stories, tell the stuff that the families don't know about them to their, to the guys and gals you're hanging out with. But, you know, close that chapter and move forward. There's great things out here for everybody. You just have to, find it. I said all the time, if you follow your passion, you'll find your new purpose, guaranteed.
Definitely. Yeah, you definitely got to follow your passion, whether it's volunteering at nonprofits, whether it's doing stand-up comedian, whether it's trying to write music and sing songs on a stage. Whatever your passion is, you have to follow that passion. And that would be your purpose. For me, for the longest time, it was volunteering at nonprofits locally. I still do that. I'm still very passionate about that. But now I've transitioned into doing this podcast and highlighting said nonprofits from around the country, and that's my new passion.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting any younger. Hopefully in a couple of years I can retire and I can do this full time and be able to travel to all these different locations where these nonprofits are and highlight them in person, and be able to experience the things that they offer. And I can say, hey, that's what, this is what this organization does, or this one. Um, Gunny and I coming up here February
2 weeks.
4th.
2 weeks.
Yeah, February 4th through the 10th. We'll be down in Tampa at SOF Missions, and going through their med clinic to see what it's about. And then we're going to do a live episode on Sunday night while we're down there. We're going to have Dr. Damon Freeman, who's a Marine Corps veteran, come on and talk about, our experience with us right there on the screen for you guys. So I'm super excited about that. We're going to have a few other people hopefully come in and join the podcast as well that help run the organization. So super excited about that. Tomorrow, we have Gunny just did a podcast episode with Mr. Carrera. He runs the Field Op podcast
With Pacho.
The Pacho. Yeah, we got Pacho coming on tomorrow. I will be on his podcast on Thursday. It's called the Field Op. He is a retired. I think he retired as a warrant officer in the Marine Corps.
Yeah, chief. I think it's a chief warrant officer 3.
Yeah, CWO 3. So I'll be on his, but he's coming on tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys, if you're watching on TikTok or you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you're watching,
That's
make sure
if we have power. That's if we have
I think we will. I think we will.
I think we're good. I think the majority of it's past us, or we're right at the tail end of it. So
yeah, I don't think we didn't have that much ice where I'm located, so I think we're good. If we haven't lost power yet, I think we're going to be all right, unless somebody's out driving and they decide to swipe a electric pole or something. I think we're good. But
yeah.
So make sure you tune in tomorrow, Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. We will be live again on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok as well. So I want to give everybody there on TikTok world a shout out. And then, in February, you got to talk about the Tip of the Spear coming up on Wednesday.
We got that's this Wednesday.
Yeah, this Wednesday coming up. So we'll be
over.
Yeah, dude, this year has flown by, Gunny. I don't know why it's flying by, but dude, it is flying by, my brother.
Yep.
And then we start February. We have a Soldier's Child on the 2nd of January, which is a Monday. I still have a spot open for Monday the 1st, which I think
Sunday.
Gunny and I, Sunday the 1st. Sorry, Gunny and I will probably just do a solo show that day. We'll bump our gums, and just have a good time. And then we head to Tampa on the 4th, on the 8th and 9th. So probably on the
9th is going to be a travel day. I mean, if you want to try to do something on that Monday as we're driving back, just, on your side of the vehicle, and I can chime in every now and again, just us traveling back if we want to do that.
Yeah, well, I'll probably wind up doing like a TikTok live or something of that
Yeah.
nature. So Monday, let's do that. Monday the 9th, it'll be our travel day back. So we'll do traveling with Gunny and Willis on TikTok.
Yeah.
That
We are
night.
making a detour on the way back. So just remember that one.
Yes. So we'll be doing that on Monday the 9th. And then we'll get back to regularly scheduled programs, on the 15th and 16th. But on the 8th, we're going to do a live from Tampa with the people from SOF Mission. So I'm super excited about
Yeah.
that.
I hope they don't have anything planned for the Super Bowl. I mean, it is Super Bowl Sunday.
Mm,
And I
yeah.
just don't know what our schedule is going to be like. But I know when we talked to Damon last time, he said that we should be able to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we can confirm that when we get down there
Yeah,
and then let
definitely.
everybody know.
All right, Gunny. It is that time of night, my friend.
Yeah, you're not alone. You still have worth. You still have value. Surround yourself with people that are going to build you up and not tear you down. And don't let the dark days win.
Mm, mm. Can't say it no better, but in the silence of your struggles, remember, though unseen, you are deeply held in the hearts of others. You are not alone. The uniform may come off, but the bond remains. And together we heal, we rise, and we carry each other forward. And the key word there is together. Together we heal, together we rise, together we carry each other forward. And if you're out there and you are putting down other veterans because you don't think their service mattered, then you are part of the problem.
So that goes back to what I said a little bit ago, is you got those guys and gals that are still living in that chapter of their life, right? That chapter's over. It's done with. Freaking
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah.
You don't get to pick and choose when or if you're going to war. Yeah, you picked your MOS. You picked your job field. But you as the grunt, you as the infantryman, can't do your daggum stinking job without any of the support elements. And if you think you can, you're wrong.
Mm.
You're the one that's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's service matters. No matter if you served in peacetime, you served in wartime, everybody's service matters, regardless of your job, whether you're air wing, infantry, whatever, your service mattered. Me TikTok's about to shut down on me. So yeah, your service matters. And this right here, we talk about it on every show of Homefront Sit Rep. Hashtag be someone stranger. Listen, ladies and gents, whether you're watching this, you're listening to this. We as humans, we're more apt to talk to a complete stranger than the ones we love the most. So be someone stranger. When you're out and about and you see somebody and it looks like they're having a bad day, go up to them, say, "Hey, how you doing?" And if they give you the red flags, I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. I'm living the dream. Ask the next hard question. How are you really doing? And be ready for that conversation. It could be a 5-minute conversation, could be an 8-hour conversation. You have to be ready for that conversation. Don't try to fix them. Just listen. Sometimes all we need is an ear to vent our struggles, our frustration, whatever that we got going on. So just ask the next hard question, be someone stranger. It don't take. It's free. It's free to be kind. It really is. It's free to be kind.
Yeah, man, it takes a village. Everybody out here has a group of friends, whether they served with them or not, right? Your group of friends back home. And I understand you don't want your family looking at you in a certain way because they still hold you as that, God figure, that superhero, that person that signed on the line and went to, serve their time, in the military. But you can't do this alone. You can't.
Mm.
It's hard. The demons eventually sometimes get the best of you, but use your friends. Reach out to the Homefront Sit Rep crew. You got friends on TikTok, on Facebook. Reach out to them. And if you have somebody that's not being supportive, it's all right to drop them. It's all right to unfollow them. It's all right to unfriend them. Like I said earlier, surround yourself with people that are going to build you up and not tear you down. Two
Yeah,
broke people don't make it right.
yeah, cut out the toxic people in your life. If
Yep.
they're telling you that you're not worthy enough, then you don't need them in your life.
Even if it's family.
Even if it's family. You beat
Yeah,
me
that's
to
one of the
it.
steps of growth is getting rid of the toxicity in your life.
Yeah. There's many family members that I have that always cut you down, and I cut them out. I cut them out of my life. I if you're gonna cut me down, I don't need you in my life. I need somebody that's gonna be there and say, "Hey, man, I'm gonna support your dreams. I'm there in your corner." Like my wife, she's amazing. She lets me dream and do my dream and follow my dream, and she supports me 100%. And Gunny's wife is the same way.
Yeah, I got a call on Monday. Are you available this weekend? I can be. I need you to go to Africa. And then there was no other conversation. And then I think Thursday or Friday, payment came through, and I'm like, going to Africa. I left Saturday.
Yeah.
You know, I had 4 days to prepare my wife and family for me to leave and go to another country, half the world away.
Yeah. So
But she
if
supported me since day one. I mean, I can't ask for anybody,
yeah,
better to support me, and I get to live my dream because she, quite frankly, lets me.
yeah, the same. My wife lets me do what I do. If my wife comes to me tomorrow and says, "Hey, what you're doing is interfering," then I would probably have to step away for a little while just to make sure that family's taken care of first. But you have to cut out the toxic
Yep.
people in your life because they're going to hold you back because they believe that they're at their ceiling and they don't want you to get above their ceiling. So if you got toxic people in your life, cut them out. You don't need them. You got other people out there that are going to take care of you as well. Um, but a big shout out. All right, this is the time of the night where we're going to wrap up the show. I want to thank our partners. First off, Heroes Media Group, heroesmediagroup.com. If you don't know what it is, Adam Bird is amazing what he does within the veteran sphere, not just Heroes Media Group, everything that he does within the veteran sphere. So go check out heroesmediagroup.com. Then another big shout out to Reese Across America Radio. The link is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. It's www.reaseacrossamerica.org/radio. Jeff Pierce and his team are amazing at what they do and the programs that they have on reaseacrossamerica.org radio. So go check it out. Homefront Sit Rep is live on, well, not live, but recorded Thursday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern. That's Thursday night, 11 p.m. Eastern. So go check out reaseacrossamerica.org/radio. Big shout out to Matt and Becky Johnson with Same Flag, Same Oath.com. Small veteran owned t-shirt hat company in Texas. They do amazing work. They do a lot of co-branded shirts. Homefront Sit Rep has a co-branded shirt. You can go on there and you can find it. It says Marine It Down on it. We get 25% of all sales at the end of the year. That check will go out to a nonprofit. I'm waiting on last year's check. Even if we get a check, I don't know. I don't know how many shirts were sold. I don't keep up with it. He lets me know if we got shirts sold or not. So if we get a check, it'll go out to a nonprofit out there that takes care of veterans. Another big shout out to Valor Coins and Pins. Brent and Brian Casey, they're amazing. They're the grandsons of Herschel Woody Williams, Medal of Honor recipient. Rest in peace to Herschel. He was the Marines Marine, all around American, true American. Gunny can tell you a lot of stories about Woody. He was just a phenomenal human that cared about his brothers and sisters and the Gold Star families that are affected by a veteran service member that paid the ultimate sacrifice. And the Woody Williams Foundation goes around and they put monuments up around the country to honor and remember the fallen of that family or multiple families, whatever. That's a good one. I love the mission of Herschel Woody Williams. The Woody Williams Foundation is an amazing mission. Go check out homefrontsitrep.com. I'm getting ready to update it with a lot of these nonprofits and veteran singers and comedians and everybody that we've had on the show that hasn't been updated. It's going to be updated here soon.
You can do that while we're driving to Tampa.
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know. I might get a little sick. I don't know.
Well, crazy.
Yeah. Who knows? We'll see. But I'll be sitting in the office for a week, at least a week this week. So I got a lot of free time that I can update the website. Who am I missing?
Elite Engraving.
Yeah, Elite Engraving for doing our hat that we have. So on homefrontsitrep.com, you can actually go to our merch site, and Gunny's got the hats right there. Phenomenal hat. We get 20% of all sales from the hat. So go get you a Homefront Sit Rep hat. Go get you a Homefront Sit Rep shirt. I do have some more shirts in the making that will be added to a store site for Homefront Sit Rep. So I'm excited about those. I think that's
RDC Shoes in Darren.
Yeah. So RDC Shoe Company, Marine Corps veteran, created a shoe brand that is amazing. They're comfortable. I have the Patriots. Gunny has the Glory and the Patriots. I think they're friggin' comfortable as all get out. So go check out RDC Shoes.
And they were just named the official shoe for the 250th anniversary of America.
Ooh, I like it. We need to have Darren back on the show. We need to reach out to Darren and get him back on the show and talk about that. Hold on. While he's holding on, let's talk about cavarts.org. If you're a veteran in the arts, whether it's music therapy, whether it's leather working therapy, whether it's painting, whether it's podcasting, whether it's whatever, check out cavarts.org. You have to be a veteran to join the community. You have to be a veteran. So join the community. Look for whatever you're looking for, whether it's baking, whether it's painting, whatever. They have a community for you there. If they don't, let me know. And I'll reach out to the team of Challenge America, because that's who hosts the Cavarts, is Challenge America, and say, hey, I have a veteran that wants to do this, whether it's painting, whatever. We'll get it taken care of. I think that is it, my friend.
I thought I had the shoe coins in here, but they're in the other room.
You did have them there. I guess you rearranged them.
I did rearrange some stuff.
All right, my friend. Also, I got to get with Josh with Unapologetic Veteran Podcast. I know they started back up, him and Dr. James. So I need to get with him and talk about when he does his shows, so we can talk about the Unapologetic Veteran Podcast as well.
Yeah.
Kountry Mike, I'm gonna try to get you on their show as well to get your story out there a little bit more as well. So Josh, send me an email and I'll get you connected. I know you're watching on TikTok right now, and we'll get you connected with Kountry Mike. But it is that time of night, Gunny. Like we always say on Homefront Sit Rep, stay safe out there. We got your six. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find Homefront Sit Rep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there.
I got your 6.